You're here because something hasn't sat right with you lately, haven't you? Maybe it was a story that didn't quite add up. A friend, a partner, a coworker, saying all the right words, but somewhere in your chest, your intuition whispered, something is off. You couldn't prove it. You didn't want to start a fight. But you also don't want to be the person who keeps ignoring red flags. That's exactly why this video exists. Today, I'm going to walk you through 4 Socratic questions that expose liars, quietly, calmly, and logically. We're going to use the Socratic method, Socratic questioning, and very simple Socratic questions to do something most people never learn. Feel that something is off. Ask one calm question. Watch the subtle reaction that exposes the lie. You don't need to yell. You don't need to catch them like a detective in a movie. You just need to know what to ask and what to watch for. And if you found this because you typed into YouTube things like 4 Socratic questions that expose liars, Socratic questions to expose liars, questions that expose liars, questions to catch a liar, how to expose liars calmly, then you are exactly in the right place. Why Socratic questions work on liars? Before we dive into question 1, I want you to understand why this works. The Socratic method is an ancient Greek way of thinking, used by Socrates himself. He didn't shout, he didn't accuse, he simply asked questions, carefully, logically, and relentlessly until people's assumptions fell apart under their own weight. Today, we're going to use this same Socratic questioning against liars, manipulators, gaslighters, people who twist your words and reality, not by being aggressive, but by being calm, consistent, and precise. Think of these as mental self-defense questions. Questions manipulators hate. Logical questions that reveal the truth. As we go through each of the 4 Socratic questions, I want you to imagine a very specific moment. The moment you feel that tiny knot in your stomach, the feeling something is off. And instead of freezing, you stay calm and you ask the right question. Ready? Let's start with the first one. Question 1. Can you walk me through that again, step by step? The feeling something is off. Picture this. Someone close to you, call them Alex, comes home late. They say, "Oh, sorry, the meeting ran long, then I grabbed food with the team, then the traffic was insane." On the surface, totally reasonable. But something in their tone, in the way they avoid your eyes, the rushed pace of their words makes your body go still for a second. Nothing is obviously wrong, but you feel it. Something doesn't line up. Your mind doesn't have proof, but your body does. Your intuition is the first alarm system, the first search engine that flags, this doesn't match reality. Most people do one of 2 things in this moment. They ignore it because they don't want to be paranoid, or they explode. You're lying. This doesn't make sense. Both of those reactions help the liar. What we're going to do instead is use the first Socratic question. You take a breath. You remind yourself, I don't need to prove anything. I'm just going to explore the story. So you say, calmly, can you walk me through that again, step by step? That's it. No accusation, no anger. Just step by step. This is a pure Socratic method move. It forces the brain to reconstruct what it claims is true. If the person is honest, this question is not a threat. They might even give more clarity, more detail, because they have no reason to hide. If they're lying, now the pressure is on the story, not on you. When you ask, "Can you walk me through that again, step by step?" watch the reaction carefully. A liar is often going to get vague, like, the usual: meeting, food, traffic. They change the order. Details suddenly rearrange themselves. They add too much random detail to make it sound more realistic. Get defensive quickly. "Why are you interviewing me? Don't you trust me?" This one question forces them into a timeline, and lies hate timelines. Because lies are usually built around key points, not about real sequences of time. You are not saying, "You're lying." You are simply saying, "Show me the movie again, frame by frame." This is where Socratic questions to expose liars shine. They're not aggressive, they're curious. And that's what makes people who are lying incredibly uncomfortable. Question 2. What happened right before that? If liars have one favorite trick, it's this. They skip the part where they did something wrong. They jump from "everything was fine" straight to "I don't know why they overreacted." They give you a story with missing scenes. That's where the second Socratic question comes in. The feeling something is off. Imagine now you're at work. Your coworker, Sam, tells you, "Yeah, the client just exploded on the call. Totally unprofessional. I don't know what their problem was. I did everything right." You listen, nodding. On the surface, it sounds like Sam is the victim. But your inner voice whispers again, something is off. They're telling you how the client ended the story, but not how the tension began. There's a gap, and your intuition feels it. You don't have proof. You don't have the full picture. So instead of taking sides, we bring in Socratic questioning. You look at Sam and say, gently, "What happened right before that?" This is such a simple question, but it's one of the best questions that expose liars and half-truths. Why? Because it forces them to reinsert the missing scene. If they were truly innocent, they can walk you through what happened right before. If they did something they don't want to admit, this question corners them without you attacking them. This is one of those questions manipulators hate, because it drags into the light exactly the moment they're trying to keep in the dark. In terms of Socratic method to expose liars, this is one of the best tools you have. What happened right before that? You're not judging, you're not labeling, you're exploring. And in that exploration, their story either becomes more coherent or it begins to crack. Question 3. If I asked them about this, what would they say? This third question is powerful, especially with triangles. Any situation where there are three people. You, the person talking to you, the person they're talking about. Liars and manipulators love triangles. They tell one story to you, a different story to someone else, and they hope you never compare notes. That's where this Socratic question becomes a spotlight. 1. The feeling something is off. Imagine this. Your friend Lisa tells you, Mark has been saying bad things about you behind your back. He thinks you're irresponsible. He says you never support him. That hurts. It stings. But then you remember, Mark has never acted that way around you. He's shown up for you. You've had good conversations. Now you're stuck. Do you confront Mark and risk blowing things up? Do you accuse Lisa of lying and risk losing her? Again, that same inner voice whispers, something is off. You're hearing a story, not seeing the reality. This is the perfect place for Socratic questioning. 2. The calm question. You look at Lisa and ask, slowly, if I asked Mark about this, what would he say? Read that again. If I asked them about this, what would they say? This is classic Socratic method. You're introducing a second perspective without actually needing the second person present. You're telling the liar, I am willing to cross-check this story. To someone who's honest, this is not a threat. They might say, honestly, he'd probably deny it because he hates confrontation, but I heard him say it. To someone who's lying or manipulating, this question is extremely uncomfortable. Because most lies rely on you not talking to the other side. 3. The subtle reaction that exposes the lie. Watch Lisa when you ask, if I asked Mark about this, what would he say? A manipulator might backpedal. Well, I mean, maybe he didn't say it exactly like that. Shift the blame. You know how he is. He'd lie, obviously. Or try to stop you. Please don't talk to him about this. It'll just make everything worse. Why wouldn't they want you to verify? If they're telling the truth, verification is their ally. If they're lying, verification is their enemy. This is one of the best questions that expose liars because it brings reality into the conversation. Not just what they say, but what the other person would say if asked. In SEO terms, if someone searched questions to catch a liar, questions that expose liars, or psychological questions to expose liars, this is exactly the kind of Socratic questioning example they actually need. Simple, calm, devastatingly effective. Question 4. Does this line up with what you said earlier? Liars don't live in the present. They live in maintenance mode, constantly trying to remember what they said, to whom, and when. The more they talk, the harder this becomes. The 4th Socratic question takes advantage of that. 1. The feeling something is off. Imagine this. You're talking to your partner, your sibling, or someone you work with. Days ago, they told you one version of a story. Now, without realizing it, they tell you a slightly different version. Maybe they said, "You know, I told you about that last week." But you remember clearly, last week, what they said was different. Not dramatically different, just off. You're not obsessed with catching people in lies. You just want reality to match. And right now, it doesn't. That's your intuitive signal. Your subtle hint from your own memory. This doesn't match what I heard before. This is the perfect place for Socratic questioning. 2. The calm question. You look at Lisa and ask, slowly, does this line up with what you said earlier? You can even be more specific. Does this line up with what you told me last week? Does this match what you said when we first talked about it? Notice again, you're not yelling. You're not name-calling. You're pointing at consistency, not morality. This is pure Socratic method questions for liars. You shine a light on the gap between past statement and present statement. 3. The subtle reaction that exposes the lie. An honest person might pause and say, "You know what, you're right. That's not exactly how I said it last time. Let me clarify." They adjust, they refine, they correct. There's no panic, just recalibration. A liar or manipulator might get irritated. Why are you always overanalyzing everything? Blame your memory. You must have remembered it wrong. I never said that. Or deny the inconsistency even when it's obvious. If you keep your tone calm, neutral, and grounded, this question becomes one of the most powerful mental self-defense questions you have. You're not asking them to be perfect. You're asking their story to be consistent. And lies struggle with consistency. Now that you know the 4 Socratic questions, can you walk me through that again, step by step? Can you tell me what happened right before that? If I asked them about this, what would they say? Does this line up with what you said earlier? Let's connect them into one simple, unforgettable pattern you can use in real life. Phase 1. The feeling something is off. This is where it starts. You feel subtle discomfort, a quiet confusion, a gap between their words and the energy behind them. Your body knows before your mind fully understands. Think of it like your inner search engine, a built-in algorithm that flags something as suspicious. Most people gaslight themselves here. They think, I'm overreacting. I'm too sensitive. If I say anything, they'll think I'm crazy. That's how liars and manipulators get away with everything. From now on, when you feel that something is off, instead of attacking them, instead of attacking yourself, you move to phase 2, the calm question. Here's where the Socratic method becomes your shield. You don't need to figure out what's wrong. You don't need all the answers. You just need to ask one good question. Depending on the situation, if the timeline feels off, ask, can you walk me through that again, step by step? If there's a missing scene, can you tell me what happened right before that? If they're talking about someone who's not present, if I asked them, what would they say? If your memory doesn't match theirs, does this line up with what you said earlier? These are Socratic questions to expose liars, not by force, but by structure. You're inviting reality to show itself. Phase 3. The subtle reaction. Once you ask the question, your job is simple. Watch how they react. Not just what they say, but how they respond to the presence of logic. Do they get calmer or more agitated? Do they offer more clarity or more confusion? Do they seem relieved to explain or threatened by your curiosity? Liars tend to overreact, deflect, attack your character, blame your memory, avoid direct answers. Honest people tend to clarify, fill in missing details, admit if they forgot something, stay steady under the questions. This is where you start to see the real difference between someone who is just messy or emotional and someone who is deliberately manipulating reality. Phase 4. Your decision. Here's the part no one talks about. These Socratic questions don't just expose liars. They expose what you need to do next. Once you see the pattern, the shifting stories, the skipped scenes, the refusal to be consistent, the anger when you simply ask questions, you are now standing in front of a choice. Do I keep giving this person access to my mind, my time, my trust? Because this isn't just about catching liars, it's about protecting yourself from them. The real power is not in knowing the truth. The real power is what you do with it. That's where Stoicism meets Socratic questioning. Stoicism says, protect your peace. Guard your perception. Don't let toxic people live in your head. Socratic method says, ask calm, logical questions. Test stories instead of just believing them. Let contradictions reveal themselves. Together, they create a quiet, unshakable strength. You don't chase liars. You don't fight for their approval. You simply stop participating in their illusion. So let me talk directly to you now. You don't have to live your life second-guessing your intuition, replaying conversations for hours, wondering if you're crazy for feeling something was wrong. Your intuition is not the enemy. Your questions are not the problem. You were simply never taught how to use them well. Now you know. When something feels off, don't ignore it. Ask one calm Socratic question. Watch the subtle reaction. Decide what level of access that person should have to your life. These 4 Socratic questions to expose liars are not about turning you into a paranoid interrogator. They're about turning you into someone who trusts their perception, respects their own mind, and refuses to be gaslit quietly. If this resonated with you, you're not alone. So many people find videos like this by searching how to expose liars, how to catch a liar, how to protect your mind from manipulators, without realizing there is a calm, philosophical way to do it. You just learned it. Your turn. Before you go, I want you to do one thing. Think of one situation in your life right now where something feels off. Ask yourself, which of the 4 questions could I use there? Can I calmly say, walk me through that again? Can I ask, what happened right before that? Can I ask, if I asked them, what would they say? Can I ask, does this match what you said earlier? Pick one. Use it.